President Barrett Jagdeo will feature as a keynote speaker at the Global Creative Leadership Summit this week in New York, addressing issues ranging from climate change to financial institutions reform.
The Ministry of Agriculture, through the Forestry Commission, has held a workshop to examine policies which govern Amerindian community forestry enterprises.
And the Health Ministry is assuring Guyanese that it is continuing its monitoring of the dengue situation in the Americas and around Guyana.
The details of these and other stories, business news, and of course the latest sporting action and the Diamond, Mineral Water and NCN Sport News and more after these messages. Good evening, I'm Delicia Fletcher.
And I'm Paul Moore.
With this edition of the 6 o'clock news for today, Monday, September 22, 2008. Here's what's happening, Paul.
Thanks, Delicia. President Barrett Jagdeo is one of the keynote speakers at a discussion to address relevance, reform and reapplication of global agencies during the ongoing 3-day Global Creative Summit in the United States. The Guyanese leader is among 7 selected world leaders attending the special summit organized by Louis Blouin Foundation in New York. Edward Lane reports.
The 3-day event, which opened yesterday, has high on its agenda the challenges and opportunities of globalization, from geoeconomics to foreign policy and the rule of law to education, health, poverty and the environment, and development, trade and economy. The organizing agency, the Louis Blouin Foundation, said on its website that the invitation-only event brings together the world's greatest minds with the goal of sharing best practices and developing new partnerships. President Jagdeo, along with the presidents of Malawi, Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste, Iceland, Honduras, and the Prime Ministers of Croatia and the Netherlands, are the heads attending. The Guyanese leader is expected to address the meeting tomorrow on the issue of global agencies, their relevance, reform and reapplication. President Jagdeo, prior to his departure, told NCN that he sees the forum as a critical one based on those slated to participate.
You're going to have a number of key leaders from the public sector and the private sector around the world trying to raise awareness about the importance of forests to climate change and the importance within the forest policy of avoiding deforestation.
Meanwhile, the president says since the forum will deal with climate change issues, he will also seize the opportunity to lobby his carbon credit initiative, since many of those attending can play a part.
Whether this forum, this one forum, will solve every issue, the answer is clearly no. But I hope that because of the high-level presence of people from both industry and the private sector largely and the governments, that you may be able to forge a better understanding of the issue and the need to provide a market-based mechanism for addressing the concerns of the people who have standing rainforests.
The summit also explores the way in which greater cultural understanding and tolerance provide a strong foundation for the future. The summit is a collective effort of the United Nations, governments, businesses, academia and NGOs. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
The Inter-American Development Bank has announced its readiness to offer grants to jumpstart water and sanitation projects in Latin America and the Caribbean. Aquafund will finance project preparation and technical assistance to develop solutions for pressing water and sanitation problems. Here are details.
The IDB in a release says Latin American and the Caribbean governments that want to improve water and sanitation services can now apply for grants from the Aqua Fund, a new source of financing approved by the Board of Inter-American Development Bank today. The Aqua Fund is a fast disbursing vehicle intended to help accelerate the development of projects in the water, sanitation and solid waste disposal sectors. The IDB says it can be used to finance activities ranging from pre-feasibility studies to technical training and knowledge dissemination depending on specific local needs. IDB President Luis Alberto Moreno says this funding mechanism was established after the many innovative proposals for improving water and sanitation services in the region. He notes that the Aqua Fund was created to help make those proposals a reality by financing the early stages of project preparation and also to help replicate successful experiences on a larger scale. During the rest of 2008, the Aqua Fund could disburse up to $15 million in grants from the IDB's ordinary capital. Starting in 2009, Aqua Fund will also mobilize matching contributions from from multiple donor countries, providing up to $35 million in grants during the calendar year. These grants can be used to support projects that subsequently receive both loans with either sovereign or non-sovereign guarantees. It is expected to finance activities such as improvements in the legal and regulatory framework, water resource management and capacity building at municipal, state and national level. The IDB has set a target of financing projects with 100 of the region's cities and 3,000 of its rural communities by 2011. Investment projects focusing on service expansion, low-income urban and rural communities, household connections to water and sanitation networks, wastewater treatment and solid waste disposal. Unika Jones, to 6 o'clock news.
The Health Ministry is assuring Guyanese that it is continuing its monitoring of the dengue situation in the Americas and around Guyana. In a press release, the ministry says it recognizes that Guyanese have shown great interest in the dengue situation in neighboring Trinidad and Tobago and is treating the dengue situation globally, but more particularly in the region as a serious one which requires diligent and preemptive action. Natasha Smith has more.
The Ministry of Health has reported that a more intense monitoring system is being maintained throughout the country. All public and private healthcare facilities have been advised to report all suspected cases of dengue to the Ministry of Health, and a daily report is prepared for the minister. There is also a special surveillance team which tracks these cases and pursues laboratory testing for confirmation. So far for this year, 300 cases of dengue has been reported. Additionally, the ministry has distributed treatment guidelines throughout the country to ensure patients receive an adequate standard of treatment. There has also been sensitization campaigns for residents, advising them on precautionary measures against the breeding of the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes and protecting themselves from being exposed to risk of getting dengue. Furthermore, the ministry says that those responsible for mosquito control has not done a good job of vector control in the country, and have even refused to do this, forcing the Health Ministry to undertake fogging exercises in Georgetown and other parts of Region 4. Prior to Carifesta, the second such exercises was done with the next one scheduled for October. While the Health Ministry plans to work with the local government ministry to get municipalities and RDCs to implement a proper plan for vector control throughout Guyana for the next year, since this is important to decrease the mosquito population, hence lessening the chances of acquiring diseases such as malaria, dengue, and filariasis. The ministry is collaborating with the Pan American Health Organization to complete a comprehensive anti-dengue strategy program by the end of November. It is expected that climate change will worsen the dengue situation. And in Guyana, so far for the year, there have been 300 reported cases of dengue, the most in a decade. While globally the dengue situation is worsening, it was reported that there were up to 100 cases reported in Trinidad in 1 week. The Ministry of Health remains strong that Guyana is poised to experience a dengue epidemic with serious consequences, because the main vector for dengue in Guyana is well established, and the ministry is still working to control the parasite pool and eliminate it while attempting to control the mosquito population. Reporting for the 6 o'clock news, Natasha Smith.
Residents of Edinburgh in Region 6, East Berbice, say the main access road in the community has been impassable for some time now, and also called for urgent rehabilitation work on the bridge. Meanwhile, the regional chairman, Zulfikar Mustafa, says the region's budget does not cater for rehabilitation works in the community. More in this Akila Jacobs report.
Residents of Edinburgh claim that rehabilitation works were done to the main access road a few months ago, but noted that significant work is yet to be done. Residents also claim that substandard work is being done by the contractor and the bridge structure does not allow for heavy vehicular traffic.
This bridge and this road has been repairing for like 3 times a year, and this bridge only has recently repaired as 2 days ago, and I guarantee within the next 5 days this bridge is going to deteriorate. Now, the cause of the deterioration of the bridge and the road, this road has not been designed for carrying certain amount of tonnage.
If you note on the bridge right now, they are joining pieces of board. With the weight of the heavy trucks, every time they pass, the wood keep lifting up because there is no base foundation.
Residents say too that their repeated calls to the regional administration to address their issues have fallen on deaf ears. But Regional Chairman Zulfikar Mustafa told NCN that the budget does not cater for any additional works in the community. Mr. Mustafa says too that he was advised by the engineer that the bridge can withstand heavy vehicular traffic. He also confirmed that massive works need to be done to both the road and the bridge. According to the regional chairman, he will continue to make representation to central government for additional funds to be allocated for emergency works in the community. Reporting for the 6 o'clock news, Akil Jacobs.